Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome back to another episode of Jash Reads. Tonight, we will continue to read Animorphs number 12, The Reaction by K.A. Applegate. Now, tomorrow, for all my viewers that don't live in the US of A, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, a time of being thankful we only have to endure this once a year. And that's because of the conversations that can pop up around the dinner table. Like, me and Rev Resner have two totally different ways of dealing with the arguments that can arise. Me, quiet, like I don't exist, and if someone talks to me, I try to be a little peacemaker about it. Like, okay, like I just don't want to get into argument. Last year I kept on making excuses to go to the bathroom whenever things got too intense. Now, Rev Resner's uh, game plan is to basically Leroy Jenkins it. He speaks his mind. He doesn't care, and I'm just like, okay. I love having a rolling chair for moments like those. It just doesn't have the same effect if the chair is just like little squeaking sound. But anyways, you're not I don't believe you clicked on this video just to see what my plans and feelings about Thanksgiving were, and if you did, okay. So I hope that was good enough for you, because the rest of the video isn't going to be anything like that. And now I will begin to read Chapter 3 from Animorphs number 12, The Reaction by K.A. Applegate. Ah! The little boy screamed, and suddenly everyone was silent. Then, a split second later, everyone was yelling. Me, Cassie, adults, the teachers and parent volunteers with the kindergarten. Help! Help! He just fell in! I couldn't stop him! I didn't even see! Tyler! Tyler, are you alright? Cassie grabbed my arm to get my attention. She stared into my eyes, making sure I heard her. I'll get help. I'll be right back. Don't do anything dumb, Rachel. Don't. She sprinted away. I leaned far out over the railing. Everyone was pushing to get a view of the kid named Tyler, but no one could see him. He had fallen straight down and rolled into a shallow alcove at the base of the wall. The way the habitat was set up, there was a sort of island in the middle. Around it was a moat or a stream or whatever you want to call it. Just below me, at the bottom of the wall, was a second dry area. I guess that's where the crocodiles went when they didn't want people staring at them. There were 6 crocodiles in that pit. All 6 were lying peacefully on the center island, surrounded by the water. They had all been sleeping. They'd been as still and boring as the sleeping python. But now I saw one crocodile eye open. It was a large brown eye with a black slit for a pupil. It was a sly, ruthless eye. If the crocodiles moved for the kid, it would all be over before help could come. Another croc opened his eye and turned his head toward the boy. Oh man, I groaned. I took a deep breath. I didn't have any morph that could take on a 15-foot long crocodile. Not my grizzly bear morph. Not even my elephant morph. Probably. And even to save a life, I couldn't morph in public. Which just left two choices. Do nothing and let the crocodile hurt the kid, or do something really dumb. I chose dumb. Look! Over there! I screamed as loud as I could, pointing wildly. Every head turned to look. I jumped onto the railing, balanced myself like the amateur gymnast I am, then leaped for the branch of a fake concrete tree overhanging the pit. I grabbed the branch, just like the uneven parallel bars, only it tore at my palms. I swung, then dropped to lower branch. I scraped my right forearm bloody, but I caught the branch, killed my speed, and dropped the last 10 feet to the floor of the crocodile pit. Oh my god! That girl fell in too! No! She's trying to save the boy! Don't be a fool! Someone yelled. Too late, I thought grimly. I was standing on sand. The boy was behind me, sheltered from sight. 6 feet of water separated me and the boy from the 6 crocodiles. They were all awake now, interested, not sure whether they should come on over and eat us or not. And that's when I saw the reason they were unsure. See, there weren't 6 crocs in the exhibit. There were 7. The 7th was lying just inches away, and he was large. Large enough that if this big monster didn't want to share his prey, the other crocodiles were not going to make him mad by trying. He was huge. Oh man, he was huge. Nice crocodile? I whispered. He stared at me with brown yellow eyes that almost seemed to be laughing. Of course he was laughing. He thought he only had one human to chomp. Now he had 2. Then he charged. You wouldn't think something that big with those stubby little legs could move that fast, but he was on us like lightning, straight at me. I jumped in the air as that horrible snout snapped at the space where I'd been. I landed on the croc's back, fell, then scrambled wildly to get back atop him. His tail lashed like a bullwhip. He squirmed violently, trying to throw me off. His huge, gaping jaws reached back, daring me to come in range of his sharp, uneven, snaggling teeth. I had one tiny hope, just one. I hugged his horned, rough back and pressed my palms against him and focused my mind with all my willpower. I began to acquire the crocodile before he could acquire me. And in that totally not tense moment, that's where we'll end it, because that's the end of chapter 3. And before I go into the discussion that I do after, each dramatic reading about the chapter, things I've noticed, I'm going to take a moment to thank today's sponsor. And I didn't do this smart thing of let's scroll down so I can read. And yeah, this is what happened to you with life, folks. Sometimes you run into mishaps. So if you're a perfectionist, like you don't like to release anything until it's perfect, yeah, don't do things live. Just don't. I've had years of experience and still I mess up. So, Anyways, today's sponsor is Chronic Reag. Fudge, I can pronounce things. Today's sponsor is Chronic Reincarnator. Shit, I can do this. I was doing it good before. I can do this again. Is Chronic Reincarnator Part 1 by Bartosz Lebuc. I'm probably butchering that name. I'm very sorry. The cover of this is lovely. So I'm actually really ashamed because the cover art is really, really good. Anyways, Chronic Reincarnator is a series of comedy slash fantasy stories following the lethargic Sad from the beginning to the end of his life. Sad lived 12,000 lives. That's how many he remembers, at least. In some, he was human, and others, he was a sentient slime. He was a living tree in at least one world. Sad was miserable in each. Following an ancient streak of premature suicides, Sad was finally confronted by an angel with an offer. In exchange for one final attempt at experiencing a full life, Uriel would give Sad a way out of the cycle of souls. With regained hope of stopping reincarnating, Sad accepted the offer and was sent out to live a normal life in a fantastical world. Aimless, depressed, and outright rude to anyone in a 3-meter radius, Sad inevitably gets himself into trouble time and time again. And it's like fantasy comedies, and I'm like, let's do the most most sad voice I can do. I don't know. We all make choices. But if that interested you, if you like fantasy comedy, if you just want to see the cover, if you like the summary, if you're watching on YouTube, Patreon, or my blog, link in the description to where you can buy this lovely book. And also, if you want to become a sponsor and sponsor the next video, you know, and to become a sponsor, you need to, be selling, have a book to sell, to promote. Also, and Patreon, YouTube, and my blog, there's a link to become a sponsor. And so, go that. And mind you can't just order my gig from Fiverr. You also need to click the option to promote your book on YouTube. And so that's the sponsorship break. I I meant to mention at the beginning of the video, but yeah. Tell me if you do like this sponsorship placement, just so I know if I should change it up to always do it like this. But anyways, back to Animorphs. I like when Rachel's jump decides, to jump in the crocodile pit. She's like, "Well, I could do something smart, or I could do something dumb." And it's like, Animorphs stands for idiot teenagers with a death wish. I think we all know what option you're going to choose. I also love that Cassie, being Rachel's best friend, knows what Rachel's going to do. Like, don't, Rachel, don't. I'm coming back with help. Just don't do anything. I bet, at that moment when Cassie's going away, she's just feeling the most frightened she's ever felt. And how I was reading Rachel in this chapter, she's a brave, fearless warrior. Well, she's brave, and brave doesn't mean not being afraid. It means being just downright terrified and doing the thing anyways. So I didn't feel like I needed to make her feel too strong, with her internal monologue, because her actions of risking her life to save this kid she doesn't know is the heroic part. Yes, she's afraid, she's terrified because she's human, but she's going to do it anyways because that's the person Rachel is. She wants to help. She doesn't want to sit back and let something bad happen. She needs to be part of the action there. And that's one thing that makes Rachel a really complex character. I was about to say villain. I was like, really? And as you'll see later on in the series, especially with the ghost written books, they don't really seem to get that. They don't. The ghostwriters tend not to really see how complex her character is. Animorphs number 37 is just like just spitting on everything Rachel's ever done because like that that ghostwriter just sees, oh, she's a gung-ho person and she's fearless, she doesn't think things through. She thinks things through, she can do that. And she can also make these knee-jerk decisions when there's hardly any time. She's complex. So if you're wondering, Animorphs 37 is one of the very, I think, like one of the two Animorphs books I just really hate, and both of them were ghost written. Okay, so let's think of a question for tonight's video. Comment down below whether you agree with Rachel's actions or not, and also tell me what you would have done in this situation. And let's just say you have morphine powers to open up a lot more possibilities. And remember, you can also, ask me questions and comment things that I didn't mention in this chapter. Bliss, but please, please remember no major spoilers because I'm hoping with this video series I help adults find or rediscover the joys that are Animorphs. So there are like a bunch of twists and turns that newcomers shouldn't be forewarned about. Like I just said, Animorphs 37 ruined Rachel's character. I said nothing about the plot of that book. I just said it was bad. It was one of the two Amherst books I hate. So if you're wondering what two books I'm not looking forward to do to this dramatic reading, Animorphs number 28 and Animorphs 37, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I'm not going to tell you what those books entail. I'll just let you know they're really bad. So, if you're doing a reread of the series, just don't. Just don't. So, anyways, if this is your first time experiencing Animorphs number 12, The Reaction by Kay Applegate, and you're like, hey, I want to buy this book, I want to experience it for myself. If you are watching on my Patreon, YouTube, or my blog, link down below to where you can get your very own copy. Now, this, as with all my Amazon links, including, the one for the sponsor today, are Amazon Associates links. So not only are you supporting indie authors, also K.A. Applegate, I also get a small percentage when you buy those. So you're getting to support great people and at the same time helping to support your favorite, YouTuber or blogger or writer, your favorite something or another. And if you would like to talk to me outside of YouTube, I have a Twitter at Jashikins. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, link is in the description. Now, the this series is the only time I have the no major spoilers. So if you're talking to me about Animorphs on Twitter, you need to say don't spoil, you're only up to this book or that book. So, I don't end up accidentally ruining things for you. And if you would like to help support me, like you're a longtime viewer, you just get excited every time you see that I put out a new video, I have a Patreon. And if you're watching on the YouTube, link in the description. So I'd be happy to see you over there. And finally, I'm releasing an original series. It's a grimdark superhero reverse harem series. So it does have some sex scenes, but it's more focused on plot and a little bit of body horror. The main character, the titular Kafka, can morph, and I sometimes like have fun having fun with that. Like sky's the limit there. And currently, the first 4 books are released. I have only one chapter left to write, and then I can start to edit the 5th book in the series, so I'm excited about that. And if you would like to experience this series for yourself, if you're watching on the YouTubes, link in the description. And if you are on my blog, there's a link somewhere with a link to my ebooks, and just look for Kafka's Men, and ta-da! So yeah, and all Kafka Men are on Kindle Unlimited. So, if you're paying like $10 per month, you can just not pay anything extra for, reading the series. So, that's it for tonight. And for everyone who celebrates Thanksgiving, I hope you survive tomorrow. It's like the calm before the storm now. And like, however good I'm feeling, I know I'm just going to have to endure tomorrow. But at least the food's good. Like, the company may not be that great, but that food, man. My mother-in-law is an awesome cook. Just, oh, I have mixed opinions about her, but that food, dude, yeah. So, have a safe week, day, night, whatever. And until next video, I'm going to find where this mouse is. I have 2 screens on, so looks like the mouse was hiding in the other screen. Hi. It's okay. Here it is. Here's the mouse. Now the mouse is where it needs to be. Bye.